You hear me, Cheryl? I apologize for anyone who's joined, and if you can't hear me, we're having some technical difficulties we're trying to work through. And if you just joined and you can hear me, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, so bear with us, please.
Can you hear me?
Hello? Cheryl?
Yes.
There you are.
Well, I'm on my phone for audio. Okay. You can hear me though now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, weird. Are we ready to start?
I believe so. We're a little after 2, so.
Okay, so we've started the webinar?
I haven't started. I was just waiting for you to come on, but I believe I'm sharing my screen. So, and Tanya says she can hear us.
Okay, but we have clicked to start the webinar, so everybody's live.
Yes, I started it. Go ahead.
All right, thanks guys for joining us on the webinar today. Apologize for the technical difficulties. So I don't know if anybody else had problems getting in, but we'll give everybody here a minute or two. The users are on, which is great. Today, Marty and I are going to talk about simplifying your payroll and empowering your employees with our wsTOOLS created for GP payroll. And there are lots of them we're going to talk about today, and so we're going to keep it at a high level, but if there are any of these tools that you want to see in more detail, do a demo, tax specific to your environment, feel free to reach out to us as well after this demo, and we can talk through those and answer any questions that you may have. We will take questions as we're going through today as well, so if you have a question on a tool and just want to drop it into the chat or the question box, we'll go ahead and try to answer those before we wrap up today as well. The mentioned, this is Cheryl Simmons, Vice President here at Implementation Specialists, and Marty, you want to say hi as well?
Hello. I was talking earlier saying we were having technical difficulties, so.
Yes, yeah. So Marty's on as well, and we'll be talking through the tools today between the two of us. So let's go ahead and jump into our next slide, Marty, and let's show those tools that we're going to be talking about. As you can see, there's many of them. And again, we're specifically focusing on payroll today. We do have 70 plus tools that sit on top of Dynamics GP and WinSoft products. And so they're all out on our website as well with little 2 to 3 minute snippets to show kind of a quick little demo of how all of them work. So you can certainly catch more information out there. But today specifically, we're going to focus in on the payroll ones. And as you can see, we got 11 of them to kind of walk through today in our half hour. So appreciate you hanging with us till we get to the end. So let's dive in and start at the top.
Okay, guess the baton is tossed to me here to start. So first we're going to take a look at is called the 1095 importer. And what this tool allows you to do is bring your health coverage info from your provider into Dynamics GP, and you can make any changes in Excel and then upload it into GP. And how it works is, and I can give an example, is one of my first projects that I worked on when I joined the Implementation Specialists was doing 1095 for a couple of customers. And how the process worked for them anyway was they would receive an Excel file from their provider with 1095 information for each employee. They would forward that to me, and then what I would do is format that, take that into a template that you would have access to. Once you install the 1095 import tool, a template's available that you can populate to do actually do the import into GP with, and it's got specific columns. So it's going to be looking, it will look for specific information, specific columns in specific orders. So generally the spreadsheet you get from the provider doesn't match up necessarily with our template. So I get a template from the provider, like I said, convert that into our template, and then make sure the data is correct. If there's any missing data, duplicate social security numbers, things like that, clean up the data, and then actually do the import into GP. And that's done with this little window you see here. Pretty simple. Once it's installed and the template's ready, you just click your reporting year for the 1085 that you want to import. Then you have a couple of fields, last import path and last import date and time. Those will show what it says, the last time you did the import of 1095, where the path was and the date and time that it was imported. And then for the bottom field, that is where you actually navigate out to where you have the import file saved. And so you grab the path there, click process. If it works, you get a message saying the import was successful. And then once that is done, you can go into GP and print 1095s if you want. And then you also have the option of electronically filing with a provider such as Green Shades, something like that. And something we do, Implementation Specialists does, is we do provide the tool itself at no charge. And then if you would like assistance with the actual import process, we can do that. So that is the 1095. Moving on, we've got a tool called the 941 tool. And this, when you have to figure out your 941 reporting, this tool, what it does is provides you with details for employees for whatever date ranges you need. So if you want to check what the 941 data is, you can select any date range you want and run the report and verify the data is correct or not. And you can also create a smart list to get the same information from this once it's installed. And the report it's broken down by It has the 941 information broken down by employee, and also at the end of the report on the last page, it's going to give you the total for everybody. So. I think.
Yeah.
Where do you show?
I'll jump. Yep, and take this one, Marty. And this is, I just love the name of this one, but also I love what it does. So Blended Max Plus, or Benefit Deduction Max Together, is really what the title is saying for this tool. Because in your current Dynamics GP product, you can choose to have, let's say, 2 benefits or 2 deductions together, but you don't have the ability to do a deduction and a benefit. So if you think of HSA, which is kind of the example we here have in the screenshot of you as an employee are contributing to an HSA, and so is your employer, so as a benefit contributing to your HSA, but yet there still is that IRS legal limit, right, of how much you can contribute to your HSA for the year. And so in this window, it allows you to combine those two, the deduction and the benefits, together. And then it's going to take the 2 of them and compare it to your calendar year max that you enter there at the top for this group deduction code. Again, very handy, especially if you have those things where employers are contributing as well as employees, so that you don't go over those limits and you have them automatically set. And as you go through and run your payroll, it is looking at that data as you do each one of the pay runs to make sure you don't exceed that maximum. So very, very cool tool. Cool name and cool what it does. Over to you, Marty, for the next one.
I was clicking and it wasn't moving on me. So, okay. Next tool is called Pay Correct. And what this tool does, it allows you to fix a mistake. Say there's a wrong pay code entered for user, and it provides you the ability to enter negative amounts in a payroll transaction entry window. So if you do this, and once if you enter the negative, need to enter the negative pay code, the payroll transaction process is normal and carried throughout the payroll process. And they're going to be reflected on any reports, employee year-to-date totals, etc. So pretty simple, but something that can come in pretty handy. Easy, makes things easy, mistake easy to fix. Payroll handoff.
Yeah, I'll jump in for this one. So the payroll handoff tool is just that. As you can see that little screenshot there, change payroll owner. And so we had, all of our tools have really been built on customer request. And so customers looking for kind of that segregation of duties of, I will do all the creation of the batches, get everything ready to go, but then somebody else really processes and prints those checks. But you'll know if whoever does the start of the payroll process, that's the user that's connected to all of those transactions as you're going through your payroll process. So here it allows you to change that from you to someone else so they can take that over. Again, and it could be from a security standpoint, or it could be from a, someone's going out sick, I need to hand this over to somebody else, those kind of things. It gives you that flexibility to have more than one user be able to be involved in that payroll process. So very, very cool, but that's it. That's all it is that window, and it's just changing who owns the payroll at that point in time.
Okay, back to me. Next tool is called Max Usage. And what this tool does is allows you to set the maximum hours allowed for sick pay type. So when the yearly maximum is exceeded for an employee while entering payroll transactions, validation message will display, and another payroll transaction for a sick pay time cannot be entered for the employee. And also, if payroll transactions are entered via a means other than like payroll transaction entry, When a batch is selected in the bill checks window, that will cause the employee to exceed the annual sick leave allowance. A validation message will display and the batch will get unmarked. This tool, it includes just one window for setting up the maximum sick leave, and that's the window you see right there. So it's kind of a set it and forget it. Just set what you want the max hours to be there, click OK, and everything else runs in the background. And one note, that max hours per year, it's the maximum hours of payroll transactions of any pay type of sick that can be entered for an employee. So if employee uses one, or if you happen to have several codes of type 6 set up, this tool adds those together and to give you the total and to decide if the employee has exceeded this max usage amount. Next tool, payroll status. And this tool, it basically just sets the default tax filing status as single when setting up taxes for new employees in the payroll module in GP. It does this on the employee tax maintenance, employee state tax maintenance, and employee local tax maintenance windows, which are all accessible from the go-to menu off the employee maintenance window. And this applies just when creating tax records for new employees. It's not going to go back and affect any records for existing employees. And again, this is kind of another kind of set it and forget it tool. Once it's installed, no setups needed, and there's no windows. Basically, the filing status gets set automatically, but you can go in if you need be. You can go in and change it from single to another status if that's required.
Pay Import Plus, one of my favorites. And I know I said Binded Max was one of my favorites. It really still is, but I may have to say Pay Import Plus is probably a little higher on my scale. This allows you to get your pay raises in quickly or pay changes into the system through quickly import, as well as it helps facilitate even taking out the data. So if you wanted to see this data in an Excel spreadsheet, we can do that as part of this tool as well. So it has both an export option and import option. So the export, as you can see in the screenshot over on the right-hand side, lots of different options for picking out the data that you want to send out. So if you wanted to focus in on one particular department, you could put in a range that from and to, or if you wanted to do all of those ranges, you'll see a department, division, location, even specific employee numbers, you could put that in. Or if you only wanted to take out, let's say it's bonus time and you wanted all the bonus pay codes out into an Excel spreadsheet, then what you can do, you can see down here on the bottom portion, is have a manager put in, let's say, what their bonuses are going to be for that year, type them into that spreadsheet. Everybody's validated, you bring them all together. If it's multiple spreadsheets, you can have them on different tabs and bring them in on the bottom portion where you're saying, yep, I have this particular spreadsheet I want to bring in. And like I said, if it has multiple tabs, you could see that up there under worksheet name where it says sheet 1. It would have multiple tabs and you could choose which tabs you want to bring in. And then it brings that data to the bottom portion of the screen where you can take a look at, let's say that first one is bringing it in for Ackerman, Pilar Ackerman, and what we're doing there is changing, if we were changing his rate, you would see current rate and new rate, or bonus amount if that's what you were bringing in on that particular pay code. You can see that listed here. And once you feel like the data that is in your bottom portion of your window is accurate and ready, then you can import it into GP. So one nice thing is it does give you a message column. So if you had, let's say, set something to 0, it would come up and tell you that, you are setting this employee to 0 and give you a warning. You could continue, but it is a message letting you know if something's wrong. Also, too, you'll see there's an effective date that you're bringing this information in, so it'll update your pay records accordingly and your HR information with that effective date. The other cool thing that I love about this is, I mentioned, let's say the hourly pay code, and we are going to change the hourly pay code, but there are so many dependent pay codes on that hourly pay code, like your sick time, your vacation, your overtime, double time, whatever it might be, right? It's all connected to that hourly pay code. Well, what we can do here is just output the hourly pay codes, have you put in the new rates for them, and then when you're in this window, you can choose to roll it down the changes. Right now on Marty's screen there, it says do not roll down rate changes, but in this case, we would want to say yes, roll them down. So if I'm like at $10 an hour, I'm going to $15 an hour, what it'll do is it'll update the hourly pay code, but it would also update your sick pay code, your PTO pay code, right? So all of them would then say $15 an hour. So you wouldn't have to export every single pay code that the employee had, just update his primary pay code and choose to do the roll down so that it would affect those additional pay codes. I think that's pretty cool. What do you think, Marie?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, very fun. And again, you can export to Excel, bring it back in from Excel, get it into this window, validate it, and then ultimately you would say update pay records. And that could be done within minutes. We had a customer who would, every time they would go through their review cycle and have to update all of their pay rates, it took them a good week to get all that data in for all of their employees. Where here they can have it ready to go in a spreadsheet, click a button, and within minutes it's all updated in the system. So very much a time saver. So great tool to have.
Okay. Excuse me. Next, we have the payroll state tax transfer tool. And what this tool does is sometimes it's necessary to move an employee's state tax information along with the taxable wages and withholding from one state to another. It could be different reasons for that. Maybe the employee moved and didn't let you know. Maybe you didn't get it updated promptly in GP, or maybe the wrong state was selected when you did do the update. So whatever the reason, this tool makes that a lot simpler to make that change. And what it does is you select a transfer date, the date you want to make the transfer, and then you pick the from state is the state that you're going to be moving the employee's information from, and the to state obviously is the state that you'll be moving his information to, and then you enter the amount of taxable wages and tax withholding that you want to move, and then click process. This creates a negative record for their old state and a positive record for the new state. And after this is processed, you just need to run a payroll reconcile on the employee, and their payroll summary records are correctly updated. There's no setup required, but one thing you will want to make sure to do when you use this is just make sure that you go into the set up the employee for the state to which they're going to be moving. So that's available to select in this window for the to state.
All right, we're down to our final couple, payroll reset. And this is a very powerful tool because what it allows you to do is, let's say you're halfway through your payroll process and you have errors. And typically you would go out and you would take a look at this tech knowledge that's back behind our window here that says, okay, if you have ran into an error while trying to run your payroll, and here's what you have to do. And it's got step-by-step, delete this, do this, and some of it requires you to have SQL access to be able to do that, to get all of those tables reset and cleared out. Well, not everybody has that access or should have that access, right? And so what our payroll reset tool does is allow you to just click the easy button, as we call it, right here where it says reset payroll. And also too, if you had gotten as far as clearing out or doing your direct deposit information, you could clear that information as well. And it returns all your transactions back to being available, so you're ready to rerun the whole process. But again, if you didn't have access to those tables or SQL in order to do the little cleanup technology that's back behind there, having this easy button available to you would make it very quickly for you to restart your payroll process and get everything fixed up as you needed to. So very cool. Like I said, call it more of the easy button. The next one is payroll rewind. So similar, but let's say you started your payroll process and you are almost done and you realize that, Marty was supposed to get a raise on this check and I forgot to enter that in. Well, instead of voiding the whole entire process and bringing everything back, what you can do is simply void that one check for him, have the transaction return, go make your changes as you need to, and then process just that one single check again to get it back in there, rebuild, calculate, and then continue on with the process. So kind of rewinding, but like we said, not necessarily having to rewind everything, but the specific one that needs to have, in this case, Marty, who you could get that new pay raise into his check, and he would never know that there was maybe a little mess up on the beginning of the payroll side. A very, very cool tool, and you have to have this tool loaded before you start the pay run in order to do the rewind, because it is capturing data all along the way to make sure that it has what it needs in order to do the rewind process. So additional tables being acquired there as you go through your process. So very fun, very cool tool. And again, all based on customer request. Let's jump to the next slide. And as you can see, these are all of that we talked about today. There's lots of them listed there. And each one is unique to what it does to help you with your payroll and make you more efficient. So as you take a look at what could work for you, right, it may be multiple tools that you're thinking, okay, well, and of course, my favorite, Vendex Plus and maybe the Pay Import Plus. If you wanted to do them, all of them are a la carte, so you can purchase them all separately. But if we go to the next slide, we want to let you know that we do have a payroll palooza going on here when it comes to our promotions. And what you can do is get, up to 50% off wsTOOLS for around our payroll system here till the end of this month. And so the more you buy, the greater percentage it is that you get off. And so, let's say you want to buy 5 of the payroll tools, you can get up to 50% off. So any of those we can write up for you as a quote and take a look at them for you. But cool promotion. Glad to see that we have that out this month. That goes right along with our webinar today. GPOC is coming up, our Great Plains User Conference that we've been doing for years. We're continuing to do that here in 2025. And we will have specific Business Central days and specific GP days. And so we don't have our link up yet to tell you to jump over there and take a look at everything and register. We're finalizing some things in there so that we're ready to go from a registration process. But starting, it'll be November 16th through the 21st, so mark your calendar so you have that. And again, we'll be on Microsoft Campus as well as we will be remote. So please let the people in your company know that, and so they can plan for that. It's always the week before Thanksgiving. That's kind of where that sits. And for sure, we'll cover what's coming out in GP, the new release in October, as it always comes out there about that October 1st timeframe. And getting ready for year end is always a focus for us as well. So look forward to seeing everyone there, and watch out for our newsletters too that will have more information about registering coming out shortly. If you have questions, need help, support, or questions on any of the tools, we have both our support and sales emails here, as well as they can be redirected to Marty or I to help answer any questions that you may have. I don't see any in the chat right now or in the question box, but definitely if you have those, drop us an email at either one of those and we'll get those answers for you as quickly as we can. And thank you everyone for attending. Marty and I greatly appreciate it. Apologize for being a little late there on the start based on technical issues, but appreciate everyone listening today. And again, if you have questions on any of these or want to see other tools in other areas, Marty and I would love to have a one-on-one with you and demo those for you and your group, just to make sure that you are getting the right ones that you need to be most efficient at your business. So again, thank you for the time today, and we appreciate you joining us. Thanks, guys.